Hey, what's up everybody, it's Gudu from Contrast Gamers, and today we're going to be going over Destiny's new dungeon, Warlord's Ruin. So hopefully this guide is helpful and should be short and sweet. So first things first, go see Ikora, she will give you the quest, and then you can access the dungeon on the EDZ world map.
How can the Vanguard help?
Normal mode is 1790, while Master is 1840. Get a solid fire team, and let's begin. When you load into the mountainside, bear in mind that there are a lot of these meme chests, what we call them. So as you can see, there are a bunch of traps, and there's a lot of them. Just be wary, not every chest is what you think. Continue scaling the mountain towards the right side and you'll eventually enter into the castle and out the back side. Here we're at our first boss.
Approach with caution.
Rathil? Rathil? I don't know how to pronounce it. Regardless though, it's a pretty easy boss fight. First things first, while you're running around, everybody's going to get teleported into these cages. Now you're going to have 3 blighted eyes that surround your cage, and you want to destroy them in order for your door to open up. Super important to note, if you're out early, help out your fire team members so that you get the most out of DPS when it happens. Now in front of you, you can see it's kind of like a scorn turret of some kind. All you got to do is stand in the circle ring in order for it to pretty much like lighten up. It's like capturing the point. But this is important because this initiates damage phase. So you can see now we're able to actually DPS this guy and take him down. And that's literally it. That's all you have to do. Do your best to survive, clear out ads, help your team members out of the cages, and that's the first boss. Now once you've defeated Rathil, you literally get teleported into a dungeon. I know, the irony. And here you'll actually have to activate 6 switches in order to escape. So I have Quicksilver Storm on, it kind of highlights where the switches are. Bear in mind too that this is from my point of view just because we're all split up, but here are where all 6 are located. So one's right next to me, other one's diagonally across, so next to my fire team member right there. 3 and 4 I can actually see from my angle as well, so you can see Quicksilver is kind of highlighting those two. And then 5 and 6 are in a little bit of a weird spot, so they're actually just outside of my prison cell, so I can't even see them. But of course my fire team members can. Simple and easy, the switches either rotate clockwise or counterclockwise. In order to figure out which ones rotate in which direction, if you look in your cell or the cell next to you, you'll want to find a skeleton with markings right next to it. This identifies how many switches are supposed to rotate one way and then the other way. So in this case, one cell had 4 and the other teammate had 1 skeleton with 2 markings next to it. So we had 4 going either counterclockwise or clockwise, and then the other 2 going the opposite direction in order to actually escape. We did 4 going one way, we had 2 going the other way. It didn't work the first time, we swapped them around. And then there's a switch that's in front of me that you can see here. I ended up shooting it and it unlocks your gate, and there you go. You can collect your loot. Now moving on to the second boss, the Locus. Arena's pretty large. I do recommend exploring it and getting a good footing of it before you begin. In the back of the arena, you can see here there are shelter from the storm. There's 5 of these, so they're all torches. And this is big. These are your lifelines, because biting cold will be active as you move away from them. So keep this in mind where they're placed. Another thing to keep in mind is in the center of the room, there are actually 4 pyres that you can see right here. These are significant because these are where you're going to be doing DPS. We will get to that in just a quick moment, but first, how do we get to DPS? Destroy the taken orb, spawn the boss, and destroy every single blighted eye you see, left and right up in the sky. Once all destroyed, large yellow bar elite scorn both left and right will spawn in. Now what these guys will do is they'll spawn a scorn turret. Of course you want to cleanse them, however killing them will actually drop a second one. This is ideal because each cleansed scorn turret that's a mouthful, will spawn in a solar charge. So now I think you know where this is going. Take one of these solar charges, and you're going to want to dunk it into one of the 4 pyres. Me and my fire team focused on the back 2 just because they're a little more out of the way. It just made it easier. And then the next 2 charges we would dunk in one of the front 2. And so this is kind of reference on how me and my fire team did this. 2, 3, and 4 already had a solar charge dunked into them. 1 was the last one. Once we dunked it in, we started moving clockwise. You have 15 seconds to do damage at each one. And then right where 4 is, it made it easy because we had a little overhang to kind of hide under. And that's generally the entire counter. Just rinse and repeat it, and you're done with Locus. Now we're finally at the last encounter, the Chimera, and again, nothing overly new, nothing that you haven't seen throughout the rest of the dungeon, thankfully. First things first, go ahead and shoot the Blight. It's going to spawn in a bunch of enemies. What's going to happen is next to the Chimera are going to be a bunch of blighted eyes. Now, similar to the Locus, you want to destroy all of these in order to spawn in the Elite Scorn again. Same thing as before, take these guys out, and once they drop those Scorn turrets, cleanse those. Now, bear in mind, this will mess you up, this Hexa Vengeful Corruption. We had a few deaths because of this, and a few wipes. So how do you get rid of this? You can see that there are these wraiths that run around. These guys are immune. However, if you melee them, you actually transfer the Hex over to them. So that's what you want to do. It's kind of like cat and mouse. And keep in mind, if they hit you, it will transfer back to you. So keep your distance once you do it. Once everybody survives, you're pretty much into DPS phase. The platforms are kind of a spiral that goes up. So at a certain point in time, when you do a certain amount of damage, he'll teleport. At first, it'll seem like very little. But if you keep going, you can see right here, we're halfway down his health. That was just 1 full cycle. So we already took almost about 50 to a little more than 50% of his health just on the first go. Once you get to the last 3 upper platforms, it's pretty much just DPS by that point. Again, you do have to rotate, like the platforms do get poisoned, so keep moving. The blighted eyes we also ignored. The moment you destroy one, they just keep coming back, and so it just kind of took too much time and stalled a lot. So focus on DPS, take this guy out, and that's it. You've completed the dungeon. I hope the video was helpful, and I'll catch you guys in the next video, folks. Keep on gaming.